Captain Sarah Chen stared at the strange signal on her ship's screen. The small human survey ship Times Meridian Times had been flying through empty space for 3 weeks when the message came through. It was not like any human signal she had ever seen. "What do you think, Marcus?" she asked her communications officer. Marcus Rodriguez had been working with alien signals for 10 years. If anyone could figure this out, it was him. Marcus shook his head slowly. "It's definitely not human, Captain. But it's clearly a distress call. Someone needs help. Badly." The signal came from a planet called Kethvar, far from any human colony. Sarah looked at her crew of 12 people. They were scientists and explorers, not rescue workers. Their ship was small and only meant for studying new worlds. "How far away is it?" Sarah asked. 2 days at full speed," answered Lieutenant Kim Park, their pilot. "But Captain, we don't know what we'll find there. It could be dangerous." Sarah thought for a moment. The signal was weak and getting weaker. Whatever was happening on that planet, it was getting worse. She had joined the space service to help people. It did not matter if those people were human or not. "Set course for Kethvar," she ordered. "Maximum speed." 2 days later, the Times Meridian Times came out of faster-than-light travel near a beautiful blue and green planet. But something was wrong. The sun in this system looked sick. Instead of bright yellow light, it gave off dim orange light that flickered like a dying candle. "My God," whispered Dr. James Liu, the ship's scientist. "That star is dying. It should have billions of years left. But something is killing it." As they flew closer to the planet, the crew saw amazing things. Cities that looked like they were grown from giant coral trees covered the land. Tall, beautiful towers spiraled up toward the sky. But many of these structures were dark and empty. "I'm getting life signs," Marcus reported. "Lots of them, but they're all gathering in certain areas. It looks like they're leaving their cities." Sarah ordered Kim to land near the largest group of life signs. As the Times Meridian Times touched down, the crew saw beings like nothing they had ever imagined. The creatures were tall and thin, looking like a mix of plants and people. Their skin was green and seemed to glow softly. Instead of hair, they had beautiful leaf-like growths on their heads. When they moved, patterns of light flowed across their skin like living art. The beings did not run away when the humans came out of their ship. Instead, they formed a circle and waited. One of them, taller than the rest and glowing with more light, stepped forward. The creature touched a device on its arm, and suddenly it spoke in perfect English. "Greetings, travelers from the stars. I am Elder Silvanor, of the Viridian people. We sent the call for help, though we did not expect anyone to answer." Sarah stepped forward and removed her helmet, showing she was not afraid. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the human ship Times Meridian **. We received your distress signal. What's happening here?" Silvanor's light patterns shifted to sadder colors. "Our sun is dying, Captain Chen. We are a plant-like people who need sunlight to live. As our star grows weaker, our people grow weaker too. We have perhaps 4 months before we all die." Dr. Liu stepped up with his instruments. "Elder Silvanor, may I scan your sun? Perhaps we can find out what's wrong with it." "Of course. But our own scientists have tried everything. Some force from deep space is draining our star's energy. We cannot stop it." For the next several hours, the human crew worked with Viridian scientists. The humans were amazed by Viridian technology. Their machines were grown rather than built, and they could do incredible things with living matter. But even their advanced science could not save their dying sun. "Doctor," Liu pulled Sarah aside. "Captain, I hate to say this, but they're right. That star is being drained by some kind of cosmic phenomenon. It's beyond anything we can fix with our technology." Sarah felt her heart sink. She looked at the Viridians around them. These beautiful, peaceful beings were going to die, and there was nothing her small crew could do to save them. But then she had an idea. "How many Viridians are left?" she asked Sylvanor. "Nearly 3 million on this world, and perhaps 500,000 more on our 2 colony planets," the elder replied. Sarah's crew gathered around her. "We can't save their son," she said quietly, "but maybe we can save some of their people. Our ship can't carry many, but we can call for more human ships. We can evacuate them." Lieutenant Park looked worried. "Captain, even if we get every available human ship, we're talking about millions of beings. It would take months to move them all, and their son might not last that long." "Then we start now," Sarah said firmly. "And we work as fast as we can." She turned back to Sylvanor. "Elder, we cannot save your son, but we want to try to save your people. Will you trust us?" The elder's light patterns shifted to colors that seemed like surprise and hope mixed together. "You would do this? For people you have never met before?" "Of course," Sarah replied. "That's what people do. They help each other." Sylvanor was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was full of emotion. "Captain Chen, if you can save even some of our people, the Viridian race will never forget your kindness." Sarah smiled. "We'll find a way, Elder. I promise you that." As night fell on Kethvar, under the dim light of their dying sun, humans and Viridians began working together to save a civilization. None of them knew that this moment would change both their species forever. 3 months had passed since Captain Chen first promised to help the Viridians. The dying sun above Kethvar had grown even dimmer, casting the world in a permanent orange twilight. What had once been a planet of incredible beauty was now a world of desperate activity. Human ships filled the sky above Kethvar. Chen had sent out emergency calls to every human colony and station within range. The response had been amazing. Cargo ships, passenger vessels, even old mining ships had come to help with the evacuation. But even with over 50 human ships working day and night, they were not moving the Viridians fast enough. "We've evacuated about 400,000 so far," reported Commander Janet Torres from the rescue coordination ship. "But Captain, at this rate, we'll only save about half the population before the star dies completely." Sarah stood in the command center of the makeshift base they had built on Kethvar's surface. Around her, humans and Viridians worked together, planning evacuation routes and modifying ships to carry more people. The cooperation between the two species had been incredible. Viridian biotechnology was helping the humans modify their ships, while human engineering was making Viridian living spaces work in metal vessels. Dr. Liu approached with a tablet in his hands. His face showed both excitement and worry. "Captain, I need to show you something important." He led her to a quiet corner and showed her his research. "The Viridian biotechnology is beyond anything we've ever seen. Their medical knowledge could cure diseases that kill millions of humans every year. Their ability to grow living machines could revolutionize our entire civilization." Sarah frowned. "James, why are you telling me this now?" "We're trying to save their lives, not study their technology." "That's exactly why I'm telling you," Liu replied. "Some of the other ship captains have figured this out too. I've heard talk that we should focus on saving their scientists and engineers first, take their knowledge and worry about the rest later." Sarah felt anger rise in her chest. "We save everyone we can. We don't pick and choose based on what they can give us." "I knew you'd say that," Liu smiled sadly. "I just wanted you to know what some people are thinking. I've made sure my research stays secret until all the Viridians are safe." A loud alarm suddenly filled the air. Through the base's windows, they could see the dying sun flicker like a light bulb about to burn out. The star was entering its final phase. Marcus's voice came over the communication system. "All ships, this is emergency traffic control. We're getting massive solar flares from the dying star. All ships need to evacuate immediately." Outside, the sky lit up with deadly radiation, as the dying star threw off its outer layers. Several human ships that had been loading Viridians were caught in the radiation storm. Their engines failed, and they began falling toward the planet's surface. Sarah ran to the communication center. "This is Captain Chen. How many ships are down?" "3 cargo ships and 2 passenger vessels," came Marcus's frightened voice. "Captain, one of the cargo ships was carrying Viridian children. 50,000 of them. Their ship is losing power and falling fast." Sarah looked at the display screen. The Viridian child ship was indeed falling toward the planet. It would crash in less than 10 minutes. The nearest rescue ship was too far away to help. But Sarah's ship, the Times Meridian Asterisk, was close enough. "Kim, fire up the Times Meridian Asterisk," Sarah ordered. "Emergency launch, now." "Captain," Lieutenant Park replied. "Our ship can't carry 50,000 passengers. We don't have room or life support." "We're not carrying them," Sarah said, as she ran toward the ship. "We're giving them our escape pods." Her crew followed her as she explained the plan. The Times, Meridian Times, had 6 escape pods, each designed to carry 20 people safely through space for several days. If they modified them quickly, they could carry about 2,000 Viridian children each. "But Captain," Marcus said as they reached the ship, "if we give them all our escape pods, what happens to us if our ship gets damaged?" Sarah was already climbing into the pilot's seat. The Times Meridian Times launched into the storm of radiation around the dying star. The ship's shields held, but they could hear the metal groaning under the stress. They reached the falling Viridian ship just as its life support began to fail. Working faster than they had ever worked before, Sarah's crew transferred the Viridian children into the human escape pods. The little beings were scared, but trusted the humans completely. Their parents had told them that humans were friends who came from the stars to help. Elder Silvanor was on the Viridian ship, helping to organize the children. He looked at Sarah with his glowing eyes. "Captain Chen, you are risking your own lives for our young ones." "They're children," Sarah replied simply. With all 6 escape pods full of young Viridians, the Times Meridian Times pushed them clear of the radiation storm. The pods flew safely toward the human rescue fleet, but as they did, the dying star threw off another massive flare. The radiation hit the Times Meridian Times hard. The ship's shields failed, and the engines died. The crew felt the ship begin to break apart around them. "Emergency systems failing," Kim reported, her voice calm despite their situation. "We have maybe 2 minutes." Sarah looked at her crew. These 12 people had become like family to her over the years. They all knew they were going to die, but their faces showed no regret. "It was worth it," Dr. Liu said quietly. Marcus nodded. "I'm proud to serve with all of you." Through their failing communication system, they could hear Elder Silvanor's voice. "Captain Chen, you have saved our future. The Viridian people swear by the debt of essence that we will never forget your sacrifice. Never." The Times Meridian Times broke apart in the radiation storm. Captain Sarah Chen and her crew died in the cold of space, but their sacrifice saved 50,000 Viridian children who would grow up to change the galaxy. On every human ship in the rescue fleet, crews worked with tears in their eyes to save as many Viridians as they could. Captain Chen's sacrifice had shown them what it truly meant to help others. Elder Silvanor watched the rescue ships carry his people to safety. In his heart, he swore a sacred oath. The humans had given everything to save the Viridian race. Someday, somehow, the Viridians would find a way to repay that debt. The dying sun flickered one last time and went dark. But in the holds of human ships, 3 million Viridians flew toward a new life among the stars, carrying with them the memory of 12 humans who had died so they could live. 5 years had passed since the evacuation of Kethvar. The Viridians were no longer refugees floating in space. They had found new homes across human space, and their presence had changed everything. On the agricultural world of New Terra, Massive biodomes stretched across the landscape. Inside these domes, Viridian families tended to incredible gardens that seemed like magic to human eyes. Plants grew faster and healthier than anything humans had ever seen. Crops that should take months to mature were ready in weeks. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the colony director of New Terra, walked through one of the Viridian gardens with Elder Sil Thanor. The old Viridian had aged in the 5 years since the evacuation, but his dedication to helping humanity had never wavered. "Your people have tripled our food production," Elena said, amazed by the sight of vegetables growing before her eyes. "Worlds that could barely feed themselves are now exporting food to other colonies." Sil Thanor's light patterns showed modest pleasure. "It is small payment for the gift of life your people gave us. Captain Chen and her crew saved 50,000 of our children. Those children are now young adults, working across human space to help however they can." They paused at a beautiful memorial garden at the center of the dome. 13 crystal trees grew there, one for each member of the Meridian's Times crew. The trees glowed with soft light and would live for thousands of years. The Chen Memorial Gardens exist on every world where Viridians have settled, Sil Thanor explained. "Our children learn about Captain Chen's sacrifice from the moment they can understand words. We will never let her memory fade." "Those." Elena nodded respectfully, then her expression became worried. "Elder, I need to ask you about something. We've been getting reports from other colonies about Viridian technology. Some people think you're holding back your most advanced knowledge." Sil Thanor was quiet for a moment. "Dr. Vasquez, we have shared what we can safely share. Some of our knowledge requires deep understanding that takes years to learn. We do not hold back from selfishness, but from caution." Before Elena could respond, an urgent message came through her communicator. It was from Dr. Liu, who had survived the evacuation and was now leading research on the medical colony of Sanctuary Station. "Elena, thank God I reached you. We have a medical emergency across 3 star systems. A new plague has broken out on Tau Ceti, and it's spreading fast. The disease attacks human DNA in a way we've never seen before. We need Viridian biomedical knowledge immediately." Sil Thanor heard the message, and immediately his light patterns shifted to urgent colors. "Dr. Vasquez, I must speak with Dr. Liu directly." Within hours, Viridian biomedical experts from across human space were working together on the plague crisis. They shared knowledge that they had kept secret for years, revealing the true depth of their medical understanding. On Sanctuary Station, a young Viridian named Lyrandos worked day and night with human doctors. He had been one of the children saved by Captain Chen's sacrifice. Now, 23 years old, he had dedicated his life to serving humanity just as they had served his people. "Dr. Liu," Lyrandos said, his biocomputer growing a new medicine in a matter of hours. "This plague is artificial. Someone created it to attack human genetics specifically." Liu looked shocked. "You're sure?" "Completely sure, but we can cure it. Our biomedicine can repair the genetic damage faster than the plague can cause it." Lyrandos handed Liu a container of living medicine that pulsed with soft light. "This will cure anyone infected within 6 hours." The cure worked perfectly. Within 2 weeks, the plague that could have killed millions of humans was completely stopped. But the crisis had revealed something important to both species. Dr. Liu met with Lyrandos after the emergency was over. "Your people have been holding back a lot of knowledge, haven't you?" Lyrandos nodded. "Elder Sil Thanor wanted to be careful. Humans saved us. But we needed to make sure humans were truly peaceful before sharing our most powerful technologies. And now?" Liu asked. "Now we know." Lyrandos smiled. "Even during the plague crisis, humans worked to save everyone equally. Rich and poor, human and alien. You could have kept the cure for yourselves, but you shared it freely with all the colonies. Over the next months, Viridians began sharing technologies that amazed human scientists. Biocomputers that could solve complex problems in minutes. Living ships that could repair themselves. Medical techniques that could cure almost any disease or injury. But Lyrandos had a special project. While other Viridians focused on medicine and agriculture, he studied the stars themselves. He spent his time learning stellar physics, the science of how suns worked. "Why are you studying stars?" Dr. Liu asked during one of their research sessions. Lyrandos was quiet for a moment, then said, "Captain Chen died saving Viridian children, including me. But the reason all my people nearly died was because our sun was killed. If I can learn to heal stars the way we heal bodies, maybe I can prevent other worlds from suffering like Kethvar did." His research led him to ancient Viridian knowledge about stellar engineering. For thousands of years, his people had been able to influence how stars burned. They had kept this knowledge secret because it was so dangerous. A race that could control stars could control entire solar systems. Elder Sylvaner met with the human colonial government on Earth 6 months later. In the meeting room, he carried data crystals containing the most precious secrets of Viridian civilization. "We wish to share our stellar engineering knowledge with humanity," he announced to the shocked human officials. Admiral Harrison, the head of human space exploration, looked amazed. "Elder, do you understand what you're offering? The ability to control stars would make humanity the most powerful species in the galaxy." "Yes," Sylvanor replied. "And after 5 years of living among you, we believe humanity will use that power wisely." He activated the data crystals, revealing techniques for extending star lifetimes, optimizing stellar output, and even healing dying stars. "But more than sharing knowledge," Sylvanor continued, "we want to help humanity directly. Your son, Saul, is stable now, but it will not last forever. We would like to optimize it for you, as a gift." The room fell silent. The Viridians were offering to modify humanity's home star itself. Admiral Harrison found his voice. "Elder, that's incredible. But why? You've already given us so much." Sylvaner's light patterns shifted to deep, serious colors. "Admiral, your people died to save our children. Captain Chen and her crew gave their lives so that young Viridians like Lyrandos could live. We have spent 5 years trying to find a way to properly repay that debt." He paused, looking around the room at the human officials. "We cannot bring back the brave humans who died for us, but we can give humanity a gift that will benefit your children's children for millions of years. We can give you a perfect son." 10 years after the first meeting between humans and Viridians, massive bioships appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. They were unlike any vessels humans had ever seen. The ships were alive, grown rather than built, stretching for kilometers like giant sea creatures swimming through space. Admiral Harrison, now in charge of the Joint Human-Viridian Cooperation Project, watched from his command ship as the biovessels approached Earth. Each ship carried thousands of Viridians and biotechnology that could reshape worlds. "Admiral," came the voice of Captain Torres, who had been promoted after her work during the Kethvar evacuation. "The Viridian ships are requesting permission to begin the Great Work." The Great Work. That's what the Viridians called their plan to optimize Earth's sun. For 3 years, human and Viridian scientists had worked together to design the process. Now, finally, they were ready to begin. Elder Sylvanor, now very old but still sharp, appeared on the command ship's communication screen from his biovessel. "Admiral Harrison, we are ready to begin. But I must ask one final time. Are you certain humanity wants this gift?" Harrison nodded. "Elder, Earth's government has voted. Humanity accepts your gift with gratitude and friendship." What the humans didn't fully understand was how much the Viridians were truly offering to sacrifice. The stellar optimization process required Viridian bioengineers to link their life force directly to the sun. They would become permanent guardians of Earth's star, tied to it for the rest of their lives. Young Lyrandos, now 33 and one of the leading stellar engineers, had volunteered to be part of the team that would bond with Sol. He stood in the bioship's living command center, surrounded by other volunteers who had made the same choice. "Are you ready?" asked Master Engineer Veltara, an ancient Viridian who had helped design the process. "We are ready," Lyrandos replied for all of them. "Captain Chen died so we could live. Now, we live so humanity's children can thrive." The process began slowly. The Viridian bioships released millions of tiny organisms into space. These stellar symbionts were living creatures that could survive in the vacuum of space and work inside a star's corona. They would act as biological interfaces between the Viridian engineers and the sun itself. On Earth, Dr. Liu watched the process through powerful telescopes. He was amazed by what he saw. The space around the sun began to glow with soft biological light as the symbionts took their positions. "Elena," he called to Dr. Vasquez, who had come to Earth for the historic event. "Are you seeing this? They're actually creating a living interface with our sun." Elena nodded, watching the displays with wonder. "James, do you understand what they're doing for us? They're not just modifying our sun. They're making themselves permanent caretakers of it." Inside the bioships, the Viridian engineers began the bonding process. One by one, they connected their consciousness to the stellar symbionts. Lyrandos felt his awareness expand as his mind touched the edge of the sun's massive energy. It was incredible and terrifying. The sun was so vast, so powerful, that touching it with his mind felt like trying to hold an ocean in his hands. But gradually, he and the other engineers learned to work with Sol's natural rhythms. "Beginning optimization sequence," Veltara announced. "All engineers, link your biorhythms to stellar output." What happened next was beautiful beyond words. The sun's light began to change, becoming more golden and pure. Solar flares, which had always been dangerous and unpredictable, became gentle and controlled. The sun's energy output increased by 15%, but it became perfectly stable. On Earth, people stopped what they were doing to stare at the sky. The sun looked different now. Its light was warmer, more nourishing, and somehow more alive. Plants across the planet began growing faster. The weather became more predictable. Even the aurora displays became more beautiful. But the most amazing change was that the sun would now last millions of years longer than before. What had been a normal star with 5 billion years left to live was now optimized to burn for nearly 8 billion more years. President Maria Santos of Earth's United Government contacted the Viridian bioships. "Elder Silvanor, this is incredible. But we're concerned about what you've sacrificed for us. Our scientists tell us your people are now permanently linked to our sun." Silvanor's image appeared, showing his ancient but peaceful face. "President Santos, it is not a sacrifice. It is an honor. Our engineers can now feel every solar wind, every photon of light that comes from Sol. They are part of something magnificent." "But you're trapped here," President Santos protested. "Your people can never leave this solar system." "We do not wish to leave." Lyrandos spoke for the first time since the bonding. "President Santos, when Captain Chen saved Viridian children, she became part of our people's story forever. Now we become part of humanity's story forever. We are guardians of your sun, and proud to serve in this way." Dr. Liu, listening to the conversation, felt tears in his eyes. "This is beyond any repayment," he said quietly. "They've made themselves eternal protectors of our world." The optimization process took 6 months to complete. When it was finished, Sol burned with perfect golden light that would nourish Earth and its colonies for millions of generations. The Viridian engineers who had bonded with the star could control solar output, prevent dangerous flares, and even influence space weather throughout the solar system. But the gift went beyond just improving the sun. The biotechnology used in the process led to advances in human science that revolutionized their civilization. Humans learned to grow their own living ships, to create biocomputers, and to work with stellar forces they had never understood before. Other alien species across the galaxy began to take notice. Ships from distant civilizations came to study the human-Viridian partnership. They were amazed not by the technology, but by the relationship itself. Ambassador Kex Ryle from the Helian Empire met with human and Viridian leaders 6 months after the great work was completed. "We have traveled here to understand something that seems impossible. Your species saved the Viridians without any expectation of reward. The Viridians have now given you control over stellar forces that most civilizations would kill for. This level of trust and cooperation is unknown in our part of the galaxy." Admiral Harrison and Elder Syl Thanner sat together for the meeting, their friendship now spanning 15 years. "Ambassador," Harrison replied, "we helped the Viridians because it was the right thing to do. They've helped us for the same reason. But surely you realize," Ambassador Kex Ryle continued, "that other species will now seek to form alliances with humanity, hoping for similar gifts?" Syl Thanner's light patterns showed gentle amusement. "Ambassador, that would be wonderful. The galaxy needs more cooperation, not less." As the meeting ended, Lyrandos, now permanently linked to Earth's sun, sent a message to both leaders. "The stellar interface is detecting ships approaching from many different systems. It appears word of our partnership is spreading." Harrison smiled. "Elder, I think our two species have started something important. Looking up at their beautiful, optimized sun, both human and Viridian leaders knew that the great work was more than just stellar engineering. It was the beginning of a new kind of galactic civilization based on trust, sacrifice, and mutual aid. 25 years had passed since Captain Sarah Chen first heard the Viridian distress signal. The galaxy had changed in ways that no one could have imagined. Earth's solar system had become the center of a new kind of civilization, where different species worked together instead of competing for resources. Commander Lisa Chen, Sarah's daughter, stood on the observation deck of the Times New Meridian Asterisk, a biomechanical ship that combined human engineering with Viridian living technology. She was now the same age her mother had been when she died saving Viridian children. Through the ship's living windows, Lisa could see Earth below, glowing with perfect health under its optimized sun. The planet was more beautiful than ever. Viridian biotechnology had helped reverse centuries of environmental damage. Forests were thicker, oceans were cleaner, and the weather was perfectly balanced. "Commander Chen," came a gentle voice behind her. Lisa turned to see Zephanos, one of the Viridian children her mother had saved. He was now 48 years old and served as the bioship's living systems coordinator. "The stellar engineers report that Sol is performing perfectly," Zephanos said. "Energy output is optimal, and the new bio-enhanced solar winds are helping to terraform Mars faster than projected." Lisa nodded, still amazed by how much had changed. Mars was now covered with early-stage vegetation, its atmosphere thickened by Viridian bioprocessors that worked with the enhanced solar radiation. The red planet would be fully livable for humans within another 50 years. "Zeph, do you ever think about what would have happened if my mother hadn't answered your people's distress call?" Lisa asked. Zephanos was quiet for a moment, his light patterns showing deep thought. "Without your mother's sacrifice, I would have died as a child, on a cold, dead world. Instead, I have lived to see 3 species working together to build something beautiful. 3 species. The third were the Aquarians, a water-based civilization that had approached the Human-Viridian Alliance 5 years ago. Their homeworld was dying from pollution, and they had heard about humanity's willingness to help other species. The cooperation between humans, Viridians, and Aquarians had led to new advances in ocean restoration and underwater biocities. Lisa's communication system activated, bringing her a message from Earth's orbital command. "Commander Chen, we have a new situation developing. A distress signal from the Kepler 442 system. It appears to be coming from a previously unknown species. Lisa felt a familiar stirring in her heart, the same feeling her mother must have experienced 25 years ago. What's the nature of the distress? Unknown. But the signal pattern indicates extreme emergency. The Galactic Council has asked if the Human Viridian Alliance will respond. Lisa looked at Zephanos, who was already glowing with excited agreement. Commander, the Times New Meridian Times is ready for immediate departure. Our biosystems are fully charged, and we have supplies for a long-range rescue mission. Set course for the Kepler 442 system, Lisa ordered. Maximum biodrive. As the ship prepared to leave, Lisa received a personal message from Elder Sylvanor, now ancient even by Viridian standards. He spent most of his time in the Chen Memorial Garden on Earth, tending the crystal trees that honored her mother's crew. Commander Chen, the old elder said from his garden, I have lived to see your mother's legacy spread across the galaxy. 37 species now have formal cooperation agreements with the Human Viridian Alliance. All because one human captain decided to answer a call for help. The ship's biodrive activated, and the Times, New Meridian Times, began its journey toward the distress signal. But this time, they were not alone. 3 other bioships joined them, crewed by mixed teams of humans, Viridians, and Aquarians. The galaxy now had a dedicated rescue fleet, ready to help any species in need. During the faster-than-light journey, Lisa visited the ship's biomemorial chamber. It was a living room filled with plants and soft light, where images and memories of Captain Chen and her crew were preserved in biocrystal displays. Dr. James Liu, now 70 years old, but still active, joined her there. He had become something of a legend himself, having developed biomedical techniques that had saved millions of lives across dozens of worlds. Your mother would be amazed to see what grew from her simple decision to help, Doctor, Liu said, looking at a biocrystal that showed Sarah Chen's last message before the Times Meridian Times was destroyed. Sometimes I wonder if she knew, Lisa replied. If she somehow understood that saving those Viridian children would lead to all this. Liu smiled. I worked with your mother for 3 years. She never thought about consequences or rewards. She just saw people who needed help, and she helped them. That's what made her special. The Times New Meridian Times dropped out of faster-than-light travel near a system where a gas giant was breaking apart, threatening to destroy several inhabited moons. The species calling for help were crystal-based beings who lived in the moon's cave systems. Working together, the mixed crews used Viridian biotechnology to stabilize the gas giant, Aquaron pressure techniques to reinforce the moon structures, and human engineering to evacuate the crystal beings to safety. The rescue took 3 weeks, but they saved over 10 million lives. As they prepared to return to Earth, the crystal being's leader, a towering figure named Resonance of Deep Stone, approached Lisa. Commander Chen, we have nothing to offer you in return for this rescue. We are a simple people, with no advanced technology. Lisa smiled, remembering something her mother used to say. Resonance of Deep Stone. We don't help people because of what they can give us. We help them because that's what people should do for each other. The crystal being's form shimmered with what Lisa realized was surprise. This is a strange philosophy, Commander. Most space-traveling species demand payment for their services. Most species haven't learned what humans and Viridians learned together, Lisa replied. When you help someone without expecting anything back, you often receive more than you could have imagined. 6 months later, the crystal beings sent a message to Earth. They had discovered that their caves contained a mineral that could make biodrive engines twice as efficient. They wanted to share this discovery freely with the Alliance, as a gift of gratitude. Elder Sylvanor read this message while sitting in the Chen Memorial Garden. He was now 127 years old, ancient even for a Viridian. His body was failing, but his mind was still sharp. Sarah Chen, he whispered to the glowing crystal trees. Your daughter saved 10 million crystal beings today, and they are giving us technology that will let us help people even faster. Your simple act of kindness created a chain of kindness that spans the galaxy. Lisa visited him that evening, finding the old elder sitting peacefully among the memorial trees. Commander, Sylvanor said softly, I am dying. My time is ending soon. Lisa felt sadness wash over her. Sylvanor had been like a grandfather to her, sharing stories of her mother and teaching her about Viridian culture. But before I die, the elder continued, I wanted you to know something important. The debt of essence that we swore to your mother is now fulfilled. We have repaid her sacrifice with the gift of soul's optimization and our eternal guardianship of your star system. He paused, his light patterns growing dim but peaceful. However, what began as a debt has become something greater. It has become friendship between our peoples that will last forever. Your mother's sacrifice did not just save Viridian children. It taught both our species that the galaxy is better when we help each other. Sylvanor died peacefully 3 days later, surrounded by humans and Viridians who loved him. His death marked the end of an era, but also the beginning of something new. At his funeral, attended by representatives from 43 different species, Lisa Chen spoke on behalf of both humanity and the Viridian people. Elder Sylvanor often said that my mother's greatest gift was not saving his people, but showing them what it means to help others without expecting anything in return. Today, that lesson guides a galactic alliance of species who have learned to work together instead of fighting each other. Looking up at Earth's perfect golden sun, surrounded by friends from dozens of worlds, Lisa knew her mother's legacy was secure. The galaxy had become a place where the strong protected the weak, where technology was shared freely, and where no distress call went unanswered. Captain Sarah Chen's simple decision to help strangers had indeed remade worlds. But more than that, actually, I was not a world. It had remade the galaxy itself into something more beautiful, more hopeful, and more united than anyone had ever dreamed possible. And in the biostellar interfaces that surrounded Earth's sun, the consciousness of Lyrandos and the other Viridian engineers continued their eternal watch, ensuring that the light of compassion would shine on humanity's children for millions of years to come.